Let's talk about winning the skills race. And maybe what is it going to take for you to make it all the way up to the moon as an organization? As a society, we're cutting across higher education, enterprise, and government sector workers. And every organization is thinking about, how do skills matter for my workforce? What's happening with my talent? And how am I going to win the skills race? We're in a sizable industrial shift at the moment. Future historians are going to talk about this moment as how it's going to define industry for decades to come. What I want to know is your organization going to be like Henry Ford back when the Ford Motor Company started, or is it going to be like Pets.com? Let's take a look, though, at the first four industrial revolutions and how they led us to this moment and the role that skills play for organizations. The first one was about mechanization. We can think about things like steam engines, the railroad. The second was about electrification. This is where the assembly line came into play. Telephones, electric lighting, everything was playing a role as the world was urbanizing. The third industrial revolution was about digitization. We've all remembered this was within our lifetime. It's where the computers came into vogue and the phrase Google it became a verb. And then the fourth is where we're at for now. So the internet is everywhere. It's combining the physical and the cyber world. If you're wearing a smartwatch, this is an example of how, we're kind of becoming cybernetic organisms as we speak. But in this moment, we're entering the fifth industrial revolution. This is where we blur the lines between what's human and what's a computer. And this industrial revolution is not built on things or infrastructure, it's built on ideas. So we are entering Industry 5.0. This is where the physical industry no longer has a clear-cut division from the cognitive industry. And in this moment, the race for skills is becoming paramount, again, for our educational institutions, for governments, and for private enterprise. And this major upheaval is changing the way that work gets done. JFK famously once said, "The vast stretches of the unknown, the unanswered, and the unfinished far outstrip our collective comprehension." Skills are at the forefront of hurling our people into the unknown, into the unanswered, and into the unfinished. We've got to embrace these skills as the building blocks of the future. And it doesn't matter whether it's an individual bringing it to a team, to a project, to an organization, but the fate of Industry 5.0 is yet to be written, and skills is going to be a part of how that gets written. So what is a skill? A skill is the most fundamental, basic unit of analysis for understanding work. Skills are the first principles of what it takes to construct an organization. It's what our colleges are educating our future workers to have, and it's what governments are looking at from a human and knowledge capital for the locations in which they operate. People aren't interchangeable units. If you take the knowledge, ability, and experience that it takes to create a skill at face value, two people may have the same mix of skills. That doesn't mean you get the same output. And if you take out motivation and individual differences, the whole tower collapses. People and teams are not interchangeable units. When people are motivated to apply and grow their skills, work becomes a playground for potential, and the development of skills in the workforce is what's key to making that possible. So let's think of skills like we think of physics. It's energy. Skills are the energy of motion. And there's two types of energy, potential energy and kinetic. Potential energy is about the stored ability of skills waiting to be activated. These are the preloaded experiences that everyone comes to the table with. But what about kinetic energy? It's what organizations are looking for to move towards a drive of task completion. Are we putting those skills into action? Are hidden skills being unlocked? And can we get the momentum to take hold, not just for individuals, but our organizations? But the flip side is, if skills are at risk of being depleted, it's not just on the individuals, it's on organizations, it's on governments, it's on educational institutions themselves. To unlock this energy, we have to turn potential energy into kinetic and put these skills into play. The potential pitfall of not turning potential energy into kinetic energy is the cost of inertia. So if we don't move quickly, if organizations don't change, if we don't change as a society, we risk stagnation. And this is not something we can afford. We have to talk about growth, and we don't get growth as a society if we're not actively growing our people first. A moonshot was once a real aspiration, thinking back to the JFK quote from earlier. So you have to think, what do we have to do if we're going to land on the moon? First, we have to invest in the skills of our people. We have to invest in them in our organizations. We have to invest in how we're building it as a society. It all starts with skills. It really doesn't matter what kind of organization you're supporting. We have to have a future-ready workforce to tackle the challenges of tomorrow. Whether you're an HR leader at a big enterprise, you're looking at things like workforce planning to get a seat at the strategy table to show how skills are going to bring about the changes your organization needs over the next 5 years. If you're a local workforce development leader, you're looking at your local organizations and saying, can we keep the talent that's here? Can we attract new talent to our area? Can we get business development and investment? And that's only going to be done by having the right skill set in your area and being able to attract the talent you need. If you're thinking about this as an educational institution, your mission is to create people that can operate the businesses of today, but not just today, of tomorrow. And so you think about answering the question, how will work get done? It's going to be done with people having the right skills that are able to execute what businesses need in their area. And are we upskilling? Are we reskilling? Are we hiring for skills to get the work done? Here's an issue we need to urgently address, and it's why workforce planning is really critical at this moment. Most organizations aren't thinking about how labor shortages are on the horizon. During the pandemic, 5 million people dropped out of the labor force, and those numbers haven't recovered since then. The BLS projects the US labor force will only add 6.4 million workers by 2032, but here's the kicker. Only 3.8 million of those workers are going to be over the age of 65. And some of our recent Lightcast research projects that 4.4 million net new workers will be needed across 15 key industries where businesses operate. If you're planning to manage talent the way you always have and expect the same results, the math just doesn't add up anymore. The entire C-suite and enterprise needs to come to grips with these labor market pressures. Local municipalities and states need to understand the labor force that they have available and if it's growing or shrinking, and likely it's probably shrinking over the next few years. And educational institutions need to not just focus on the traditional college student, but how can we re-educate and reskill the workers that are available today? If we're thinking about good workforce planning, regardless of the type of institution, we have to think about what does it take to create a skills-based organization, and this is comprised of the jobs of the future. So there's a very linear pathway. It starts with skills, it moves into competencies, and then we think about what are the jobs that comprise a skills-based organization. This is included the task and the skills of what it takes to get the work done. Skills are where things get truly interesting. If we're mapping these skills to competencies and competencies to the task and the jobs, against both external labor market data, but internal business practices as well, organizations can uncover what employees could do as they grow, opening doors to creating what it takes to be a skills-based organization. ROI looks different to every type of organization, but if you're a business, you're thinking about how can I get the ROI of my skills journey? You must go through the steps of diagnosing, planning, architecting, analyzing, and optimizing those skills for the need of the organizations that you're supporting. By taking the internal steps of identifying the strategic business alignment necessary to make your skills relevant, you can look at the internal makeup of the jobs, the tasks, the competencies, and the skills, and help leaders of your organization or those organizations that are looking to build those skills locally to help get the true ROI of your skills journey. If you're able to combine your internal skills data with external labor market insights from companies like Lightcast, this can really bring your skills to life. You need to know what talent you have, what skills they bring, who's missing, and who's available in the market to replace them. You may not be familiar with the term like labor market intelligence, but this brings data from the labor market along with job posting analytics to allow you to benchmark against competitors, against other institutions, and against other markets to know where your talent fits into the bigger picture. Do you really have enough engineers for the next key launch if you're an organization? Does your local market have enough software developers to attract the next big business? Does your educational institution produce the skills that are necessary for the local employers to meet their needs of supply and demand? Having these insights is key in the diagnosis and planning stages of this cycle. Market insights unlock effective strategies for learning and development and allow you to find the talent with the right skills mix in the right area that's available to be acquired. From there, as you analyze and you optimize, this allows organizations to embark on the skills journey and get the ROI at the same time. The rising storm in the labor market is here. Virtually every organization is exposed to some kind of risk. People are leaving the labor market much faster than they're entering. Markets are constantly shifting, and the technology forces of the fifth industrial revolution are changing and making business to be done differently. We must be investing in the skills of the future today. This may feel overwhelming, but Lightcast can help. First, let's start with the basics, a skills taxonomy. If you talk about the labor market using anything but skills, you're creating an unnecessary level of abstraction. There's no need for that. Discussing skills themselves allows everyone to say what they mean and ask for exactly what they want. At Lightcast, we have decades of labor market expertise, and this has convinced us to put skills at the center of everything we do to help create a skills-based future. Our software, our professional services, our data shares, they're all powered by skills, and so are the billions of data points we ingest every day. It's why we built Lightcast Skills for all to access. So you may be wondering, what is Lightcast Skills? It's a comprehensive common skills language. We have a library of over 33,000 skills that we created from real-world use cases using AI and honed in by our in-house experts so that you don't have to create them yourself. We update the taxonomy monthly to ensure we're reflecting the fast-changing marketplace of skills. This taxonomy has become the universal standard used by industry, education, and all levels of government. It's used by thousands of organizations to map their internal skills to the external view on the labor market. Using our skills taxonomy as the foundation, we built Talent Transform. If you're in the private sector, we built Talent Transform for you. It allows you to get a refined look for how skills are used by your organization. It right-sizes the internal skills viewpoint that you have with the outside world of not just yourself, but your competitors, giving you a 360-degree feedback view of your talent and their capabilities. Use it to map your skills to competencies and tasks, those competencies and tasks to roles, and map those roles to creating a skills-based organization. Talent Transform is the key unlock you need to create a skills-based organization to win in the world of business. What if you're coming at it from a local workforce perspective? Lightcast economic impact studies are the industry standard on being able to quantify the economic impacts that skills bring to a local workforce. Every workforce today is strapped for their ability to justify how they're making workforce development efforts and what's the ROI of that. Lightcast economic impact studies can show the direct relationship between the skills that your local market has and its ability to compete with other local talent markets that you're trying to draw the same talent from or build towards. And if you're an educational institution, Lightcast has just the product for you. It's our tool called Skillaby. It is able to look through the syllabus that you have for any particular course or entire curriculum programs and show the relationship between the skills that are taught in that program and the economic needs in your area, and even the wage opportunities for people who are able to build those skills. But what gaps are there? Educational institutions that are able to close those gaps more effectively are able to produce graduates that have higher earning potential and are meeting the local labor market needs more effectively than educational institutions that aren't using Skillaby. This curriculum skill gap analysis is a key unlock for educational institutions who are looking to build workers of the future. So if it's not clear, Lightcast labor market data solutions, whether they be software, professional services, or data shares, are made for you to help this transition to a skills-based future of work. I'm Cole Napper. I'm the VP of Research, Innovation, and Talent Insights at Lightcast. Come join me on this skills journey. Let's talk about where your organization can go from here, and let's win the skills race together.